5 schools in 5 days in this edition of Proclaim News. Hello everybody, Mr. Brian, Proclaim Ministries, helping you connect faith and life. This past week was busy. Now I apologize, last week we did not get a Proclaim News out. I apologize, I was in, where was I at last week? 2 weeks ago. I was in Folsom. I did 2 assemblies, or actually 2 different schools while in Folsom. Folsom Middle School, which I did 3 assemblies, 1 6th, 1 7th, 1 8th. And then next day I was at Mitchell Middle School for the first time, and 3 assemblies as well, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And these are big schools. Both schools have about 1,500 kids in them. Great time. So that's what I was doing last week. Well, 2 weeks ago. Now this past week, last week, 5 schools in 5 days. First started out Fall River Elementary School. Have never spoken there before, first time. Did 3 assemblies. And I'll tell you what, the kids were very, very receptive. They were listening to the message, clued in. I mean, they wanted my autograph on the playground. Interviewed a bunch of kids. We had a great time, and I'll be making some of the videos on the ChooseWellProgram.com to follow up with that visit. Great visit at Fall River Elementary School. When we're done with the students, we did a professional development for the teachers, about an hour and a half with the educators. That went well as well. That went well as well. Yeah, that went good too. I love not just speaking to the students, but the teachers as well. And sometimes being able to speak to the families and do family nights, because it's about the whole culture. The Choose Well program is about helping make better school cultures one choice at a time. It's one thing to talk to the students, and that's great, but if we can get all of them on the same message about their choices, it's amazing. So I had a great time with Fall River. Next day, Burney Elementary School. I've been there before in the past. I've been there 2 other times I can remember, but it was great to be back. A whole new batch of students who'd never heard me speak before. There I did 4 assemblies. Yes, 4 assemblies. I did some classroom visits and, of course, outside recess time, playing with kids, shooting basketball around. That was fun. But then we did a professional development for the educators as well when we were done, and that was great. Love interacting with them. Day 3, I drove up to Alturas Elementary School. I've been there in the past, but I actually haven't spoken there since 2019. It was great. I mean, some students remember me because they were like in TK or K, but many of them did not know who I was. But started the morning walking on the playground, just hanging out with kids. I had a bodyguard. This one kid was my bodyguard. He was, taking me around and showing me around and let me meet other students, which was kind of cool. Had some special time with him because he needed to just have a conversation about his just some behaviors, choices he'd been making. So that was cool. I did 2 assemblies, but the assemblies were held at the middle school. They had the kids walk over to the middle school, bigger area. So I did 2 assemblies with them. Went really well. Had a great time with them. Spent a lot of time on the playground with them, hanging out. It was cold. I mean, the wind was cutting out there, boy. That wind was going right through my sweatshirt. It was really cold, but again, great time at Alturas Elementary School. So day 4 was Modoc Middle School, back in the school, and this was a busy day. Spoke 3 times, started with 8th grade, 7th grade, and 6th grade. Hung out at lunch, talked to students, and talked to some students about some really heavy things. Some of them even thinking about suicide, and just helping them work through the fact that life is worth living, and actually talked to the administration and the counselor to get this kid some help. Really deep conversations, but just giving these kids hope no matter what situation they find themselves in. 3 assemblies, and then at night we did a family night, and it was so amazing to talk to parents. And my message to parents was this: we have a job to do. It's a very tough job. Being a parent is a very tough job, but it's a very rewarding job. My message was simple. As parents, we need to love our kids, lead our kids, and launch our kids. Love, lead, and launch. And the parents were very receptive. Not only that, because kids were there, we did some interaction games, had fun with them. It was great to see families laughing together. Some teachers came, hung out with the parents, and it was a fun time. So that was the end of that day. But that day I was getting kind of tired. I was about ready to finish out my time, but my time was not up. Day 5, drove back to Big Valley, which is in Bieber, California, and another great time. Did 2 big assemblies, but then the schedule was packed with all these different small classrooms. I think I had like a 10-minute break, but it's all good because I really enjoy hanging out with students. Even playing sharks and minnows in a suit, running outside was worth it. But had a wonderful time with them. And I'll just tell you, I had a really great time with one class, and I didn't record it, but this one class, one of the kids, he's very boisterous and he says things that hurts people. So we had an open conversation where the kids were able to say, these are 10th, 11th, 12th graders, able to say to this kid some things he does that bothers them. And one of them, he makes jokes about women's weight. And so we had an open conversation of how that makes those girls feel, and he's just joking. And at the end, during the time, one of the kids was affirming one of the girls who felt bad because comments he made, and so people begin to affirm each other. Then we had those kids even think of something good about the kid who's the voicious one, who always ends up saying things, just blurting things out of his mouth. That was great. But at the very, very end, he said, well, if they don't like the way the body looks, they should lose weight. And I said, hey, hold on. It's different for everybody. You don't understand women's bodies are different than men's. They can go on the exact same diet you go on and they won't lose the weight. And even that, women deal with a lot of other stuff that we have no idea. And people are different. And bottom line is the most important thing about them is not what they look on the outside, it's who they are on the inside. And you need to understand your words are powerful and you are a leader and people look to you and your words you don't want to hurt these girls, do you? It's like, no, I don't want to hurt them. I said, you got to think about that. What you don't know, you don't know. And so try to respect people and look at people from on the inside and on the outside. So I think he heard that because later that day I heard that he complimented a different girl in the gym class about something. And so I think it was a great day at Big Valley, and I really enjoyed talking to students. And not to mention, we had a whole conversation about sex with one group of students, high school students, because it just came up. When I do assemblies, my goal is to give them a message, but when I go to small groups, it is to hear from them, let them ask me questions. And they didn't have any questions at first, and then one of the girls mentioned she sells condoms to kids. And I was like, really? Why? And she started talking about why she sells them, and she's a virgin, but she sells condoms. And I gave my message about what I think about sex before marriage, and how, condoms don't protect from everything. It doesn't protect you spiritually, physically, maybe a little bit, intellectually, emotionally, socially. It doesn't protect you fully. And the kids were listening, engaging with that message, telling them, hey, the best choice is this. We talked about STD. We had a big conversation about a lot of stuff, which was unprompted, but you know what? It was received very well. And so I'm grateful for this busy 5 days, 5 schools in 5 days. And I want to thank you all who pray for me on a regular basis. And I want to tell you one more story. I was speaking at one school, and two of the board members came to the assembly, and two different assemblies, and one of them came up afterwards and said to me, do you get any pushback from schools because of you have such a Christian message? And I was like, no, I don't get any pushback, because I don't think anybody will say, hey, don't tell kids to choose well. Some of the kids come up to me and they understand that I'm coming from a Christian perspective, that I'm coming from, treat people the way you want to be treated, and the golden rule type of message. I said, I don't get much pushback. I think we will start to receive some when students start asking me about the transgender thing, which just happened before. I think I'll get some pushback from that. But for the most part, I think I don't. I want to thank you guys for supporting our ministry, and be looking out for some new things we got coming out to really focus on reaching students in a different way. So thank you again, and thanks for watching this edition of Proclaim News. And hopefully all the things we do at Proclaim Ministries helps you live for God by connecting faith and life.